Shalom. I want to start by giving all the praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Rarachakwadash. Double honor to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone who rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations unto the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And this is the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 16. And as many as walk according to this rule, peace be on them and mercy and upon the Israel of the Most High. And that's what I want to get into in this quick little lesson as it pertains to, the brotherhood, brothers coming into the faith, coming upon the teachings that comes from a body of, men that were ordained and set up by the Heavenly Father through his only begotten Son, Yahushai. This particular body, we have a rule. All right, we have something that governs us. It keeps us with boundaries that holds us to a certain confine within the way we live and conduct ourselves. And that way, as long as we live within the confine of that particular rule or order, we will be able to follow in the footsteps of Yahushai. Because you got a lot of Jake in the world, they're not used to instruction. They're not used to coming up under, a order, a standard. And, it even tells you that in Apocrypha that a child left to himself will become willful. And somebody that's willful, someone who they basically just do what they want because they've never been disciplined or instructed. So they just have that attitude to just be rebellious, all right, fractious, unruly, disorderly. And that mindset, having that mindset, you will not last in this ministry. All right. So you want to walk according to this rule. And, you have, overseers, you have the apostles, you have the elder bishops, you have deacons, different offices of the body that help to enforce that rule, that standard. And if you can't hold fast to that rule or that standard, then it's best for you to just keep it moving. So that's why I want to start the lesson off with this scripture here. And as many as walk according to this rule, peace be on them and mercy and upon the Israel of the Most High. Now, when you look up the word rule in the Greek, the word is kanon. And it says a rod or a straight piece of rounded wood to which anything is fastened to keep it straight, used for various purposes: a measuring rod, rule, a carpenter's line or measuring tape, the measure of a leap, as in the Olympic Games, a definitely bounded or fixed space within the limits of which one's power of influence is confined. Or like I said, we're to be in the confine of a particular order, all right, in which, we're to be governed, we're to be instructed, to keep us in the way of righteousness, to keep us, under the standard or protocol that Yahushai left to his men, his disciples, his apostles, and all the students coming up. Okay. It says the province assigned one sphere of activity Metaphorically, any rule or standard, a principle, or a law of investigating, judging, living, acting. So we have a rule, we have a standard that we live by. One of those things being, and the apostles have been stressing this for as long as I can remember, man. You brothers out there, just fall in line with order, man. If the apostles tell you no long hair, then hey, it's no long hair. And that was one of the standards that Apostle Paul, set in the church. He told the church at Corinth, it is a shame for a man to have long hair. Do not nature tell you that it is a shame for a man to have long hair. What do you want long hair for? Do you want a woman's glory? What is a woman's glory? So, hey, that's the rule. You no long hair. It's vanity. There shouldn't be any issue with that. All right, these men, they're not just saying things just to say it, man. They're given a responsibility. All right, that's why when you go here, this is Hebrews 13:17. It says, "Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls." So that's why there's certain orders that'll come down the pipe. All right. Certain things happen in the body and it may affect the body in a negative way. They're going to institute some kind of order. They're going to set a boundary. All right, brothers, you can't do this. Okay. So it is what it is because they're watching over you. They have the oversight. They're watching for your souls. And it says, as they must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. All right. So they don't do it with grief. All right. They know that they have a responsibility because Yahweh Shemiah Shai gave them that responsibility. All right. So you can't get offended when certain things, are ordered. You have the standard of, being diligent, which, what brother wouldn't want to be diligent serving Yahweh Shemiah Shai? When the apostles and, elders, they say, hey, man, stop with the laziness, get on fire, do more shows. You had men years ago that bucked up when the apostle laid the order down for brothers to do 3 videos a week. You have brothers that couldn't even do that, man. So it's like, what are you in this thing for? So we have a standard here at Great Millstone. Everybody's gonna work. Everybody got to put in their labors, and you got to be diligent. You got to be fervent. That's part of the rule. No slackness when it comes to this work in Great Millstone. All right. And it's to keep you occupied, because the scriptures even say in the Apocrypha, idleness teach of evil. So why not be occupied in the work, where you have less of a chance to get tempted and get sucked in by a demon, instead of being locked in the spirit and going into things concerning salvation and prophecy. All right. It's to keep brothers, on point. So going back, so you see that is dealing with obeying a standard, a rule. All right. in the way we live, the way we conduct ourselves, the way we behave. So let's go from there. And this is going to be a quick lesson. I'm not going to be long winded, but I feel like this is necessary. All right, and brothers should not have to always get on brothers for the same old stuff, man. Shit is getting old, man. Cut the damn hair, man. Stop trying to please these hoes out here. Cut the hair off, man. This is Philippians 3 and verse 15. It says, "Let us therefore, as many as be perfect, be thus minded." We got to have the same mindset. We have to agree with one another in the same mind and the same judgments. We all have to walk under the same standard together. All right. It says, "And if in anything ye be otherwise minded, the Most High shall reveal even this unto you. Nevertheless, whereto we have already attained, let us walk by the same rule. Let us mind the same thing." So we all have to walk by the same rule. We have to be under the same standard. We believe in doing things decently and in order as it is written. Let all things be done decently and in order. That's why you have, heads of camps. That's why you got second in commands. All right. And we all have to report to one another, keep the communication going. That's all part of the rule. You don't want to be defiant, and you don't want to be insubordinate. That's not going to fly within the body. All right. We under the rule. This is a rule. And the apostles, through the Spirit, they laid down the rule. And that's to oversee and keep the church intact, man. That we don't cross any boundaries. All right. And that was what Apostle Paul was doing when he was sending these letters out to each church. It was to keep the church within confines of the standard, the rule, to keep everything in order. All right. Well, if you got any extortioners in the church, get them out of there. If you got any adulterers in the church, get them out of there. If you got any dudes that's bringing in heresies, excommunicate from them. Get them out of there. Because the rule is what? Everybody teach this. We all speak the same thing. There's no divisions among us. The moment you start teaching something contrary to what the rest of the church is teaching, hey, you get marked and you get avoided, excommunicated. That's just how it is. That's the rule. All right. It says, "Brethren, be followers together of me, and mark them which walk so as you have us for an example." All right. Because the elders, they watch for your soul. And as they're following Yahweh Shai, they're leading the way. This is how you do it. Let's look up matter of fact, hold on. Let me go back to 16, and I want to read it in the NASB 20. It says, "However, let's keep living by that same standard which we have attained." All right. So it's a standard we live by. And we don't want no dudes, looking like women. All right. Putting lace, because you got men, they'll literally take some, they'll go to a beauty salon and they'll get some extensions and get their hair braided. What type of man does some shit like that? So yeah, that's off. And then you have certain people that'll get, fractious and be like, well, because you got like dudes like the Sakari, they'll say like, oh, well, Apostle Paul, he's not the authority. He's just giving his opinion. It ain't law. Well, it tells you in the first verse of 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, that they're to follow the ordinances that he. Let me get it. 1 Corinthians 11:1, it says, "Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Yahushai. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things and keep the ordinances as I deliver them to you." All right, keep the order. Keep these instructions that I deliver to you. Yahushai taught him directly. So you don't think he got permission from the Lord to lay down these principles and protocols and standards, man? That's why he was chosen to lead these churches and instruct them. And then he put other men, he had, Timothy, Titus. And they had to lay down the order. And then, of course, he gave the order of, man and woman. All right. Which, we have a head and the women have a head. Anything outside of this order is out of order. Because you got some women that don't believe in this order. They think that they can act on their own. They can teach men. They can rebuke men. So, hey, here at Great Millstone, we have that rule. No sisters, leaving scriptures, trying to teach on the comment boards. None of that. That's zero tolerance for that. That's according to the rule that you are to keep silence and learn in silence with all subjection. All right. This is the rule. And then let's look up the word ordinances. And the word is paradosis. And it says down here, it says giving up, giving over. Jump down, it says a giving over, which is done by word of mouth or in writing, i.e. tradition by instruction, narrative, precept. Okay. It says down here, objectively, that which is delivered, the substance of a teaching of the body of precepts, especially ritual, which in the opinion of the latter Jews were orally delivered by Moses and orally transmitted in unbroken succession to subsequent generations, which precepts both illustrating and expanding the written law as they did were to be obeyed with equal reverence. You see? So yeah, keep these ordinances as he delivered them, and they're to be obeyed with equal reverence, with the law. That's why, a lot of it is based on the law. When he said about these women that keep silence, he said, as also saith the law. Okay. And then, you men having long hair, what did the Lord tell the priests in Ezekiel's time? You're not to suffer your hair to grow long. You're only supposed to, pull your heads, meaning groom it. You could trim it down, but don't let it grow too long. That's that's just what it is. And also said not to drink any strong drink when you go into the tabernacle, because that's also in the law. When you read Leviticus, the 10th chapter. So, some of these ordinances go back to the law anyway. Even Yahushua said it, why says Lord, call me Lord and do not the things that I say. Keep these instructions. That's obedience. All right. And I'm not just, this applies to myself too. If I get out of order, then hey, I could be rebuked. And if I don't follow through, if I don't humble myself, if I was to get out of pocket and get out of order, I could be ousted. Any of us, none of us are exempt, man. So hey, we have a rule, we have a standard. All right, so let me get this one. This is 2 Thessalonians 3 and verse I'll start at verse 4. It says, "And we have confidence in the Lord touching you, that you both do and will do the things which we command you. And the Lord direct your hearts into the love of the Most High and into the patient waiting for Yahushua. Now we command you, brethren, in the name of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, that you withdraw yourselves from every brother that walketh disorderly, and not after the tradition which he received of us." All right. And let's look up that word disorderly. Because you got certain men who want to operate like they don't have, men over them. They want to be able to have free reign to do as they please and not respect, the body, man, and how it's being run. And it says disorderly, out of ranks. And the word is ataktos. It says disorderly, out of ranks, often so of soldiers, irregular, inordinate, immoderate pleasures, deviating from the prescribed order or rule. You see that? You start deviating from the prescribed order or rule, you start to become disorderly, moving how you want to move. And the way you move can affect the body. You could put a stain on the church. Brothers if you on social media doing some shit you ain't supposed to be doing, hey, don't start deviating from the prescribed order or rule. So, yeah, man. And it says, I'll continue to go. It says, "For yourselves know how you ought to follow us, for we have behaved not ourselves disorderly among you." And that's why it says, even in a Proverbs, mark the perfect man, for the end of that man is peace. Like, the Lord set men up to show you the way, man, to lead, to be a leading example for you. Now, these men have not deviated from that rule. Still, going strong, watching over brothers, going strong, being diligent. It says, "Neither did we eat any man's bread for naught, but wrought with labor and travail night and day." Still putting in that work, and that we might not be chargeable to any of you, not because we have not power, but to make ourselves an example unto you to follow us. All right. So, and it's not about following man, it's about following men who's leading the way and following Yahushua. We're following Yahushua. All right. Because this is how Yahushua set it up. So, we have that line. It's a fine line. All right, and we are to stay within confines of that line. Okay. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to go into that. The Spirit just got on me to just, go into it. And hey, Lord willing, we continue to, stay intact, and, because hey, at the end of the day, Um, it's always a moment when, you know, things can change. The apostles always talk about there being it's always a spring cleaning. It's always a house cleaning. And that's due to dudes deviating from the prescribed order or rule. You start, you know, deviating, and you're not examining yourself. That can happen, man. So, you know, we gotta, you know, humble ourselves, man. But anyway, Lord willing, this is edifying. We give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rechakwadash, the ones to the elder apostles and bishops, the great millstone. Peace, blessings to the elect. Shalom.